Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom, main-handed knives built where the real.
What's up, and welcome back to another episode of 20 Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez. This show is for those who want ownership, discipline, freedom, and to build a life that they have always wanted, one that is earned and not handed to them. Today's episode is called Comfort is a Drug. And now before you go off and roll your eyes and think this is a full-on motivation speaker mode, let me make it simple. Most people aren't ruining their lives with one big bad decision. They're slowly sedating themselves with comfort. Not enough for anyone to truly notice. Just enough to stay average. And the scary part? It feels completely harmless. I want to say something first that most episodes like this skip over. Comfort isn't evil. Comfort is a gift. Rest is real. Recovery is real. The ability to exhale after a hard session, that is real. I'm not here to tell you that every moment of ease is a character flaw. But here's the line. The problem isn't the comfort. The problem is when comfort becomes your default setting. When you start arranging your entire life around the avoidance of discomfort, that's when it becomes a drug. And here's why that analogy actually holds. They're dangerous because they work. They numb you. They soothe you. They take the edge off. And comfort does the exact same thing. It doesn't wreck your life in a week. It just quietly keeps you from building the life you actually want. You don't lose all your money. You just never get ahead. You don't lose your marriage. You just slowly become roommates. You don't become unhealthy overnight. You just keep making those choices until your body reflects the choices. Comfort is the most socially accepted addiction on the planet. And it's exactly why so many people live a life that's fine and die full of regret. Let me show you what this actually looks like. Because comfort doesn't usually show up in an obvious, dramatic way. It hides inside normal, everyday life. It hides in completely reasonable sounding decisions. These are the microdoses. And I want you to listen to each one and be honest about whether you recognize them in yourself. The first microdose is tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is the most productive day on earth. It holds everything you've been avoiding today. Every workout you've skipped, every conversation you've delayed, every move you weren't ready to take advantage of. Tomorrow has it all. But the truth is, tomorrow never really comes. Because when it arrives, it's just become today. And today has a new tomorrow waiting for it. In an endless cycle of today and tomorrow. And every time you choose tomorrow over now, you're microdosing comfort. Training your nervous system to believe that delay is the safe and productive thing to do. The second microdose is the phone. And I want to be direct about this one because it's the one that many defend the hardest. You're not relaxing when you reach for it. You're escaping. There is a difference. Relaxation restores you. Escape numbs you. And every time you reach for your phone, out of boredom, stress, or discomfort, you are training your brain. I don't handle hard things. I avoid them. And the brain is trained to avoid discomfort. And a brain trained to avoid discomfort does not build the life you're describing. The third microdose is food as relief. Not hunger, but relief. Long day, stressful moment, and suddenly you deserve something. And listen, you do deserve good things. But if your primary reward system is always built around comfort, you become someone who needs soothing to get through the normal friction of life. And that person is not equipped for what building something really actually requires. The fourth microdose is avoidance. The conversation with your partner you keep delaying. The correction with your kids you keep softening. The hard truth with someone in your business you keep deciding is not the right moment. And you tell yourself you keep the peace, but you're not keeping the peace. You're avoiding discomfort, and avoidance always compounds. Every week you don't have the conversation, the thing you need to say gets heavier and heavier. The relationship drifts just a little bit further. The dynamic gets a little worse. And what would have taken 5 minutes of discomfort early on turns into 5 months of damage later. The fifth microdose is the one that catches the most off guard. It's staying busy to avoid truth. I'm not saying anything about being lazy, but you're addicted to motion. Because if you slow down and you actually stop and stand still, you have to face the fact that you are not building what you say you are. So you stay busy, full calendar, lots of activity, always something to point to. But motion and progress are not the same thing. And busy can be just as much a comfort as the couch, because it makes you feel like you're doing something without forcing you to risk anything. This is the part I really need you to hear, because everything so far has been about behavior, but this is about something deeper, because comfort doesn't just affect your schedule. Comfort rewires your identity, and that's where the real damage lives. And this is how it works. Every time you choose comfort over the hard thing, you cast a vote for the certain kind of person that you are, not announcing it to everybody, and maybe sometimes not consciously, but your brain is keeping score. And over time, those votes accumulate into a belief about who you are. And once that belief takes hold, it becomes the story you tell yourself before you even attempt anything. You start to hear things like, I'm not really a disciplined person. I always fall off eventually. I can't seem to stay consistent. I start things, but I never finish them. And what makes this so dangerous is that once you believe that you are that person, you stop going all in. Why? Because why would you go all in on something you already believe you'll quit? So instead, you go in at 70%. A little workout, a little prayer, a little effort towards a business, a little presence in your relationship. Just enough to say you tried, but not enough to build the proof. And without the proof, without real evidence that you can do hard things, your confidence doesn't grow. And here's the thing about confidence that most people avoid and get backwards. Confidence isn't something you feel before you act. It's something you build by acting. It's built on evidence. And comfort kills the evidence. Every time you choose the easy thing when the hard thing was available, you chip away proof. And the one who has no proof that they can do what they say becomes the person who stops saying it. You lower your vision. You shrink your goals. You adjust the standard. And you adjust it downwards and call it wisdom. That's not wisdom. It's the result of letting comfort rewire who you believe you are. So let me ask you something. What story has comfort been writing about you? Not the story you tell other people. The one you hear in your own head. When you're about to do something hard, what does that voice say? Because that voice, that narrative, was built one microdose at a time. And it can be dismantled the same way. One hard choice at a time. One piece of evidence at a time. Until the story changes. Until the voice starts saying something different. until you become the person whose default setting is the hard thing, not the comfortable one. Freedom costs discomfort every time, in every area in your body. Physical freedom costs soreness. Early mornings, saying no when your body wants to say yes. In your faith, spiritual strength costs surrender. Stillness when you want to be moving. Discipline when you want to drift. In your being, mental freedom costs the discomfort of sitting with hard thoughts, doing the inner work no one ever sees, challenging the story you've been comfortable believing about yourself. In your bond, relational freedom costs honesty. It costs the hard conversations. It costs showing up with intention on the days when checking out would just be so much easier. In your build, financial and mission freedom costs the grind, before the gain, the output before the outcome, the 100 days of building before the market decides to respond. In every single area, comfort now is pain later. Pain now is comfort later. And you get to pick which one, because you have to pick. Because not choosing is also a choice. And that's the one that keeps most exactly where they are. All right, I want to give you something you can walk away with, you can implement. Not a list of something that you can screenshot and forget. It gets lost in your camera roll. A real 7-day challenge that I want you to actually take. Before I lay it out, I want to say something about these 7 days. I'm not asking you to change your life, all at this very moment. I'm asking you to change your story. The story that says that you can't do hard things. The story that says that comfort always wins. 7 days of intentional discomfort won't transform every area of your life, but it'll give you something more valuable than transformation right now. It will give you evidence, proof that the story is wrong, and proof is what everything else gets built on. So here is the comfort detox. Every single day for the next 7 days, you choose one discomfort on purpose, one thing that you don't want to do, but you know you should. Train when you don't feel like it. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Open the word before you open your phone. Sit with your thoughts instead of reaching for your phone to scroll, to entertain yourself. Do the work on your business before the world gets its hands on your attention. One thing every single day. And here is the rule that makes this work. When you hear that voice in your head say, I'll just do it later, you are going to snap back and respond with, no, I'm the kind of person who does it now. Not because it's a magical phrase, but because it interrupts the drift at the exact moment the drift is trying to happen. It inserts a new story right where the old one used to live. And by day 7, if you actually held it, if you actually held true to it, you will have 7 days of evidence that the old story was a lie. 7 days of proof that you are the kind of person who does the hard thing, not the small thing, not the comfortable thing. That's the beginning of the identity shift. And identity shifts are where everything changes. And part of that is going to be a challenge that on top of those 7 days, you are going to keep track in your notebook or your notes app on your phone. You are going to write down the 5 areas: body, faith, being, bond, and build. And underneath each one of those, You are going to keep track of every single time that you wanted to choose the comfortable thing instead of doing the thing that you knew you needed to do. Maybe you wanted to put this sentence underneath every single one of them. The comfort I keep reaching for is this. And then you're going to fill in the blank. And you're going to be honest with it. You're not going to fudge the results. You're looking for evidence here. You're not looking for comfort. This is the thing you're trying to avoid. You're trying to break the cycle. You're going to make a list of every time and everything where you wanted to choose comfort over the actual thing you needed to do. And you're going to ask yourself that question. The comfort I keep reaching for is blank. And it's going to be uncomfortable. No one said this week is going to be easy, but you are going to get dialed in on exactly what you are feeling in the moment and keep track of it. And once you find something that you can measure, you are aware of it. It's not going by the side and going unnoticed. You are paying attention to it, and now you can measure it, and now you can change it. Let me leave you with this. Your future isn't decided by one big, gigantic plan. It's decided by your small comforts, your small choices, because every comfort is either recovery or escape. And only you know which one it is. Actually, recovery restores you for the next hard thing. Escape keeps you from it. And if you have been escaping, you already know. You've known for a while now. So today, pick one hard thing to do on purpose, not because you feel ready, not because the conditions are right, because you are the kind of person who does hard things. Even when, especially when, the comfort option is right there and looks so much more inviting. If you know someone who's been living on autopilot, someone who's been sedating themselves with just enough comfort to stay stuck, send them this episode, because sometimes they just need someone to name it and to bring it to the surface of what has been happening before they can decide to stop letting it control their life. Standards over feelings. Ownership creates momentum. Freedom isn't found, it's built. I will catch you on the next one.